Hello, I am Paige Agnew, and this is Paige's Running Corner, running at you with my good friend Molly Berdenka. She has started endurance training. Molly, how do you start to prepare for long distances?
Well, I use my previous track training to help me. So I use the skills that I've learned to then incorporate them in my longer distances. I've started running with 1 to 2 miles to help, and I will slowly increase that as I get better.
Perfect. I am primarily only a short distance runner.
She will die if she does anything longer than a 200.
Hey, 400. I got a little bit. But what stretches do you do in order to do long distance? Because I know that they are slightly different than our short distance stretches.
Yeah, so as you said, we normally warm up with a warm-up lap, which for distance, I try to do 2 laps or 3 laps as a warm-up, a nice little jog. And then we do all of our stretches, so reaching for our toes, reaching down, like cover girl. And then we continue with a few walking stretches, so walking on our toes, walking on our heels. And then I like to do another warm-up jog, and then I'm ready to start running.
That sounds like a lot of jogging. I would not like that one bit. So who do you jog with? Who do you run these distances with?
So when I can, I like running with other people. I feel like it's easier. You can talk to them. Personally, for me, I don't like listening to music as much when I run because my pace starts to match with the music. So when I'm talking to a friend, it's easier and we can just talk between each other and it makes the run go by a lot faster.
I know when I do the warm-up lap, I tend to need someone to jog with because I end up sprinting the whole warm-up lap. Mm-hmm. So that's really smart to have someone to help pace yourself with. So what do you think is easier, short distance or long distance?
That's a hard question. I think short distance is nice because obviously it's shorter, but it is a lot of work. A lot of work goes into both short distance and long distance. So short distance, it's a lot of speed, it's a lot of fast repetitions, while long distance, it's a little longer repetitions, but you have a little more time in between. But all in all, I think that the easier one is short distance.
Really? This is my personal opinion because I see long distance going out on their runs and then coming back like 15 minutes later with donuts.
I feel like if you were trying to do like a distance run, not on the track team, not bringing back donuts or popsicles, I think it's pretty hard to stay running at a solid pace for what they do 2+ miles when they go. So 4 miles or 6 miles.
That's true. And like by the end of the week, they're expected to like run like 30 miles.
Yeah, so they do their distance runs one day, and then they have to be ready the next day to do multiple 600 sprints or multiple 200 sprints, which that's a lot.
That is true. That is so true. That's actually awful. Because they do have their own 600, 400, 200 ladders, which I hate. 100, 200, 300 ladders.
Not even 50, 100, 150. So, Paige, you said that you're a runner too.
Yes.
So, what's your favorite part about running track?
My favorite part about running track? My favorite part about running track is probably the community that I am a part of. I have been able to run with my best friend since 7th grade, Molly. So that makes it a whole lot more fun. Yeah, I don't really have to worry about letting down like the whole team because everything's just mainly on you. But you still have that camaraderie with having like a team. It's just really nice to hear like friends on the team or just, the guys' team cheering you on while you're doing like your 200 or whatever.
I agree. So personally for me, track is a sport where we don't have a lot of fans that come and watch. It's not a big sport at our school or in general. It's very fun when you are watching and when you're supporting your team, but sitting there as a parent, we understand it's not
absolutely
fun. So I think a great part of the community is that everyone is always there to cheer each other on and that we can all work together and we can all help each other. we can help pace each other at practice, and we can all work together, and we can hang out outside of practice.
That long. It's just like about an hour because there's only so many.
But it feels like we know
runners
so
true.
many people.
That is true.
And
yeah.
for me and a lot of the other girls on the team, I feel comfortable with wanting to try distance and to reaching out to try other events because I have that supportful community.
So because community is such a huge part of track, how has that influenced your distance running?
So I think that with such a big community in track, it's very easy to reach out and find other people outside of track that have family and friends that are into distance running or other events or at college and running. So I've been able to meet a lot of people in my community. I work in Doylestown, and very often they do 5K runs. And I've been able, because of my track experiences, feel confident talking to other people and asking them for help on those other runs in my community.
That's very true because a lot of time, if your teammate is a runner, then most likely your teammate's parents or a sibling was also a runner. So that does really expand the community.
Also, I think another thing that's great about having a track community is at the end of the season we have our banquet. So we are able to all come together as a community and work with each other. And it's an event where all of our parents, so our family and friends can come, they can celebrate our season and how well we did.
And we can celebrate each other.
And we can get free t-shirts this year.
We get free t-shirts? Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I know on our team there's a lot of long distance coaches, so how have they helped you in your journey of long distance running?
So yeah, we got some new coaches this year, which is obviously always challenging in the beginning. You have to learn their styles, how they like to coach, and you have to see how they work with you and with your team. So right now we have 2 sprinting coaches who are so great. One of them is Coach Broadbent, and she is actually a distance runner herself, but she is helping with the sprinters. So she has helped me so much in trying to figure out what distance is good for me, where I should start running, how long, and she has helped me through it and coached me along the way, which I really appreciate.
Coach Broadbent is also a scientist. She knows a lot about food and nutrition. So has she given you any specific tips on what you should eat or how much you should be drinking before these long distance runs?
So she's helped me a lot with what to eat beforehand. So you know that you want to eat a little lighter because you're going on a long distance run. She told me that when she goes on runs for trails, she hides her waters by trees, so she knows exactly what mile she's on and exactly when she needs to stop, so she doesn't have to carry anything with her, which I think is a really good idea because carrying your phone, your keys, water while you're running is not fun. So I thought it was a really good idea that if you know your trail, you can already set up where you want to put a breakfast bar or a water bottle and have it all set up for you.
Speaking of trails, what do you prefer to run on? On the track, on pavement like around your neighborhood, or on trails like you just mentioned?
So this past weekend, I got to run with my friend at Lake Galena, which I really loved. It was my first time running with her, and it was so much fun. So I like the aspect of having hills and not exactly knowing where you're going or what distance you're going to end up, but you still have a safe route to go on. I don't prefer tracks just because I feel like for distance it's a lot of repetition, so you're running the exact same thing over and over. I think tracks, I love working on them when I do speed workouts, but just for distance, if I'm just doing a distance jog, I don't like running in constant ovals.
So is Lake Galena a concrete trail or does it also have like ground?
So it's all concrete all around. There's one side, the boat ramp, which we decided to start on. Lake Galena is 6 miles around, and about the first 2 miles are flat, and then you have a huge hill, and then the other side of the lake is a few hills, and then you cross a dam, which is completely straight, and then you come back to the boat ramp, which is mostly straight. So I like that we could decide when we wanted to run and walk and switch off between our pace depending on where we were in the trail.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. So earlier you talked about hiding like how Coach Robert hides water, so that got me thinking. Do you like to just drink water while you're on these runs, or do you like to have liquid IV in your water, which is electrolytes, or do you like to bring a Gatorade like in the car for after your run? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so typically during my runs, I like to have water through it. I haven't really tried liquid IV, and I'm sticking for water right now, but it's definitely something that I'm willing to try after my run. So I like to drink water on my runs. I haven't yet tried liquid IV, but it's definitely something that I would love to try in the future. And then for after my runs, I like to have a breakfast bar ready and orange Gatorade because it's the best flavor. Or white is also good.
White is not okay.
It's so good.
White is an okay flavor.
Orange is the best though.
Orange is the best.
Yeah.
So for your long distance runs, I know for short distance we like to layer a lot. I know for sprinters we tend just to wear a tank top and shorts because it's quick, fast movements, which generates a lot of heat. So when you do these long distance runs, do you still just wear tank top and shorts, or what do you do?
Yeah, so for sprinting, normally we know what that we're going to be doing sprints the whole practice. So no matter what the weather is, if it's above about 65, we know that we can wear shorts and a t-shirt because we know that we'll be moving a lot. For distance, for my own personal runs, it's a little hard wearing layers because I like running on trails. So obviously, if you take it off, you have to be able to hold it. So I like wearing shorts and sweatpants on top and sweatpants that I can easily take off and maybe throw in a backpack that I have. And then normally for the top, I just have a long sleeve running shirt. So I don't really have to worry about running with a sweatshirt or not.
Specifically a breathable running shirt. Breathable is a huge key. In order
you don't
to be
want to be
comfortable.
sweating and all swarmy if it's hot or the weather. Also, I like going on runs and I drive my own car with me, so I like having, I have my clothes set, but I have a backup change of clothes in the car just in case I get there and it turns out to be really windy or it's really hot and I just wore the opposite. I like to have a backup set of clothes that I can always put on.
That's really smart. So we've talked about everything from the beginning to in between about long distance running. How about the end? How do you cool down?
So cool down is a very important part of practice that a lot of people skip over, which can very often lead to many injuries. So I always do a cool down lap at the end. I love if I have multiple friends or at practice we do an Indian run. So we start in a line and one person from the back sprints to the front or like jogs to the front. It just adds more fun to whatever the run is at the end. But make sure you always do a cool down and you always stretch after you run to prevent any injuries.
If the listener isn't running on a track and is running like in their neighborhood or something, what would you count as a full lap? How long of a distance, or like how much time would you equate?
So I would say whatever you're running, you should base it off of. So say if you're running a mile, maybe you want to do a shorter cool down than if you ran 10 miles. So maybe if you're running a mile, you can do a lap or a lap or like a quarter of a mile. But if you're running 10 miles, maybe you could do like a 1 or 2 lap cool down.
So
like, 1 or 2 mile cool down, sorry.
So like if your mile run like time, let's say is 10 minutes, then you would do a lap would be about like a 2 minute like jog.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that it's a nice easy jog. You don't want to go out hard. You just want to cool down, do a light walk jog to just make sure your breathing's back in order, your heart rate's down, and you feel good.
And to break up any lactic acid that will build up in your legs. Thank you, Maya, for joining me here today and helping my listeners become even more happy, healthy, and active. Thank you for joining me here on Paige's Running Corner. I can't wait to run by you again.